Greetings! What is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining in this cold English winter, and the Magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle here on Faymanville Approach, featuring a spawning in the north. It is going to be the deceptively named CPU Easy. And, oh yeah, playing as the Vermect forces. And spawning in the south, playing as the Soviets, it's going to be Devman. So yep, two players who featured on the channel before. They were top of the live game lobby. These are two very capable, able, proficient, and adept players. Ooh, come on. And part of the reason I'm doing a cast right now today is because I found myself with a couple of free hours here, which is usually a castable window. And contrary to reports from my last cast, when I said I was hopeful that my PC was actually fixed, I turned her on this morning. I just, pressed the power button. Instant failure, didn't even boot to BIOS, had some error messages, including a CMOS error on my front panel, and just like, it was like back to the drawing board. So luckily I happened to have a spare CMOS battery lying around, so we were able to pop that one in and took apart the PC, took off the graphics cards, and dusted her yet again. I mean, I do keep her pretty clean, but when you take off the graphics cards, there's always a little bit more dust in there because they always trap a little bit more in, and able to re-diagnose the problems. I'm sure it is one of the graphics cards that has failed, so now rather than leaving that one in, that's just no longer in there. We've only got the good graphics card, we've got a new CMOS battery, we've got a lot less dust. Honestly, there was probably like enough dust in there to clone an armada of magpies, but I mean, there always is. And yeah, I'm hoping that will be sufficient and that she's going to run well. I mean, she seems to be running just fine right now. We booted perfectly after my last sort of round of surgery, so hopefully she's going to be stable now. I suppose one of the upsides of having removed one of the graphics cards that was in there is there's now a lot more room in there, so I could put something else in there. I mean, I'm probably going to be replacing the one remaining graphics card with a better one at some point. Anyway, that's probably the next thing on the list to get. Anyway, so this is kind of another test cast, and I suppose, like last cast, there's a reasonable chance that no one except myself will ever hear this, because if we have another PC arrest in the next sort of hour or so, then this cast will have failed. But I'm hoping that it will be able to reach you. So we've got a skirmish. Skirmishes going on across the map. One just to the west, one just to the east of mid. Maxims and MG42s exchanging fire whilst trying to contest for control of this middle building. Squad of Pioneers getting into this building is actually pretty significant. They're at close range on a number of Soviet squads here. These are weapon teams, so the received accuracy will be increased, which actually means that even these Pioneers at this range will be able to put some good damage on, and that's actually going to basically force the two Maxim squads there to displace. Maxim squads, of course, indicate that we've got a support weapon camp on our opening here for Devman, who has not yet chosen a commander, but is running with the, oh dearie me, so this is the For the Motherland guy, which is called the Counterattack Tactics. Yeah. This guy is the, like, Urban Defense Tactics. Yeah. So this guy is the Forward HQ geezer who gets the light AT gun and the KV-2 siege tank. And then this guy is the shock geezer, shock rifle frontline tactics. So yeah, increasingly it appears to be we're seeing this one as the preferred IS-2 commander in the meta. I'm not actually sold on him being the better of the sort of two used IS-2 commanders. But he's definitely fine, definitely totally serviceable, definitely quite a lot of fun to use. So maybe that informs people's decision as well. Looks like CPU Easy here. I am reliably informed that this is not a CPU Easy, and you know what, I can already tell from the way they're playing that this is not a CPU Easy. So yeah, this is a real talented human being, not a CPU Easy, who's going to be running with Jaeger Infantry Doctrine, Spearhead Doctrine, and Fortification Doctrine, something like that? Defensive Doctrine, okay. God, I got one wrong. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, pretty interesting roster there. Spearhead Commander is like, Spearhead Doctrine is pretty stable staple that we see quite a lot of the time. Just a nice all-rounder with a Tiger backup plan. Jaeger Infantry Doctrine is seeing increasing use because Stuka Close Air Support is really good, Jaeger Light Infantry is really good, and I guess the other abilities are reasonable as well. Jaeger Command Squad. I don't think I've seen enough of the Jaeger Command Squad to really properly assess its abilities, but oh, okay, wow, so it is going to be a Jaeger Infantry Doctrine. There we go, we have the pick. That's what's going to be coming out here for CPU Easy, who has been doing quite a good job of maintaining field control until just now. A lot of the Axis units just now forced back, giving a bubble of time here for the Soviet player to push out, expand, grab some resources, and deny them from the Axis player. And normally when we see a Soviet player go double Maxim this early, this is sort of the dynamic I would expect. Axis to have a very hard time accessing the map. But double MG42 is a promising start, especially on Faymanville and probably especially against Soviets. So I think CPU Easy here is going to have all the tools they need moving forwards. We've got Panzer Grenadiers already on the field, and I imagine we're going to see... That's a rifle grenade, but I imagine we're going to see... Oh, good hit. I imagine we're going to see G43 upgrades appearing on these infantry. And that's going to substantially increase their DPS whilst leaving them fairly maneuverable as opposed to the LMG42, which really only increases their DPS at the cost of maneuverability. So the table is set here as this early game unfolds. These two well-matched players going at it. Axis forces tearing through mid right now, but the table is set for an interesting game here. Ooh, a lot of conscripts here bunched up. They're going to have to fall back through Panzer Grenadiers, which always hurts as well. Looks like Devman going to identify that nicely. Unlikely that there's going to be an opportunity for a squad wipe, but Panzer Grenadiers are very killy at close range. Bundaru Grenade going to come down. Ooh, okay, now there's a chance for a squad wipe. Pretty good chance even. And he gets it. CPU Easy. Just making a sweet positioning there. MG here. Panzer Grenadiers here. Bundaru Grenade here. Nice. Gets the job done. That's an early squad wipe. Now, it's not perilously early, but it's still definitely something if you're Devman you'd rather not have to go through. Devman here, going to be choosing counter-attack tactics, so we are going to have the option of the B4 howitzer, the terrifying B4 howitzer. And this is a pretty good map for the B4 howitzer because it's one of these maps that's a little bit wider than it is sort of long, if you like. So you are actually relatively close to your opponent, a bit like Crossroads or Langreskaya to some extent. Langreskaya is kind of a square shape, but anyway. So the B4 howitzer can pretty much fire. You can build it in a very safe location, like almost anywhere you want, and it can like fire onto the entire map. And even if you build it sort of like here-ish or somewhere like there, you can use its direct fire mode to basically control panzer activity in your side of mid-map, which is a nice thing to be able to do. Sort of distantly hoping that we might see a KV-1 in this game because I haven't seen them for a long time, and I'm told that they are actually one of the more underestimated units in the game. I'm not exactly sure what changes the community balance team have made to that unit, but suffice to say, apparently they are supposed to be pretty good now, according to my sources, which is mostly Oliver in the comments, who I'm very grateful for because they have epic game knowledge, and it supplements my own in very, very useful ways. Yeah, we could have an interesting late game developing here if we get there. Oh, this Maxim is getting very shot up. Slim chances of a squad wipe here. Okay, it's going to sneak away. Wouldn't be the most impactful squad wipe. Of course, you can just reman a Maxim, but still, wiping the veterancy ain't nothing, and it would tax some manpower and some time from a conscript squad to do that. So definitely would have been a nice squad wipe to pick up there for CPU Easy. Conscripts here going to oorah themselves round to the flank of this MG42 for a fallback, and that's very nice. Where's the other MG42 right now? Actually also in base, so not too many Axis units active out on the map right now. Maxim still chacking away, severely controlling and restricting Axis movement. Scoreline differential, something of a lead here for CPU Easy. So kind of not the typical dynamic we might expect between Soviets versus Wehrmacht, but on a smaller map like this, and definitely when you go for double MG42 opening, yeah, you can definitely take an early game score lead advantage here for Wehrmacht. So that's nice to see there for CPU Easy, who has gone ahead and mixed in the Jaeger Command Squad. So this is a squad whose abilities I'm not very familiar with. So let's see now. We get the smoke grenade, we get the Faust, we get the rifle grenade, we get the sprint, and we get the flare. Okay, at veterancy. Very interesting. And the veterancy abilities are flare. Advanced rifle training improves accuracy. Fair enough, yeah. Combat expertise increases survivability and weapon control while under fire. Okay. So, hopefully we're going to be able to see this unit go on to sort of flourish and have a real impact on this game, because it's not very often I get an opportunity to watch this unit in play. T70 here going to be the choice, so Tank V Battalion Tech is finished for Devman. God, this has been a constant exchange of machine gun fire. The sound of Maxim's Dakka-Dakkering has been like the official soundtrack of this game. Nice barbed wire here, actually going to be preventing... Actually, these conscripts... Oh yeah, it's going to be preventing the conscripts from getting the relevant heavy cover. This heavy cover here won't actually be very useful. Bundle grenade going to force those conscripts back. Not going to give any of them, but that's still useful there for the Axis player. And looks like the Maxim going to reposition to cover back here. Oh, no, actually, decides to bring it back and, okay, put it in the mud. Not the best position there, but there we go. T-70 going to be rumbling out onto the field, and this is actually a pretty spicy T-70. It's going to get Fausted here. Okay, that's a bit of a mistake, but not the end of the world. This map's quite small, so even a stricken T-70 will be able to still take part in fights. It still has a decent amount of health, and I'm sure some engineers, of which there are 2 squads, will be on their way to repair that T-70 momentarily. But this is an Axis player who doesn't actually have the infantry... Oh, sorry, he does have the infantry company. But he doesn't have the the mechanized company, so no access to pack guns right now. And typically, when Wehrmacht players are caught by T-70, or a T-70, without pack guns, things can get risky. So what have we got here? We've got 3 Faustable squads and the possibility of putting some Shreks on some Panzer Grenadiers. So those are the sort of AT resources that exist without additional teching requirements for CPU easy. We'll see. Okay, so he's going to go for a support armor core. That's going to leave him about 80 in the bank. So actually, that's pretty good. So actually could opt to counter the T-70 with a Stug, Ostwind, or Panzer IV, depending on how long he's willing to wait for each of those options respectively. Obviously, the Stug would be the fastest, and then the Ostwind, and then the Panzer IV. But yeah, Axis units forced back again. Soviet units looking to push out right now. Scoreline differential still opening up though. Under a cap right now is Devman. So that's about 111 ticket lead right now for Devman. Sorry, for CPU easy. My bad. I like this. Going for support armor core. This is really cool. I love it when Wehrmacht players go for support armor core tech. I just feel like historically, over the course of the game, over the many years of this game's history, just more often than not, we've seen Wehrmacht players opt not to go for support armor core tech and just like save for Battle Phase 3 and Heavy Panzer Corps, or more usually just go for Tigers. But now that the tech tree works differently and it's much more appealing to go for support armor core for various reasons, it's really exciting to just finally let these units come out into a lot more games. And we're going to see a Stug, which the lesser spotted Stug, probably one of the least produced units, but still one of the most powerful and cost-effective units in the Wehrmacht arsenal. I believe just 80 fuel. Let's just check. Oops. Yeah, come on, HUD. 90 fuel. Okay, 90 fuel. Gets you a pretty potent assault gun, which is decent against infantry. It's decent against armor. And it pretty much gives almost any unit some cause for concern. So that's nice. Ooh, MG42. Pardon here, getting gunned down, and that is lootable. I'm sure these conscripts would love to have that. Stug is going to try and say something about that, though. But he should be able to still get this. T-70 is going to stick around. Zisgun is here to cover it. Didn't mention that, but yeah, there was a Zisgun up on this queue a few minutes ago. And so that's actually really nice. He gets the AT grenade in there as well, so the Stug immediately being repulsed. Not the start to life that you'd want for a Stug if you're CPU easy. And having the Zisgun already as an insurance policy against support armor core tech. And very nice adaptation there from Devman. Not quite sure what he saw that made him think that that would be a smart plan, but I guess it's just prudent to throw in some sort of hard AT into your list by this sort of timing in the game if you haven't seen any fuel choice, just because you don't want to be caught by a Panzer IV or a Stug or whatever and not have anything ready for that. So yeah, that's nice. GR34 going to be added into the mix here for Devman. So that's pretty cool as well. Going to be adding some indirect fire. That's going to be very useful for countering the 3 machine guns, because it is 3 now that the MG42 has been swiped. And the Zisgun, so a lot of fairly static infantry squads here that GR34 can tax and punish. The GR34 is still just one of my favourite mortar squads in the game, just because it's just so consistently fast-firing and accurate. Oh, there we go, and that, I believe that was its first shell. Just immediately killing 2 conscripts and getting a lovely slice of veterancy. Look how accurate the GR34 is. It's nuts. It's so good. Stug here is going to be rolling forwards. Actually on relatively low health. Where is the Zisgun? It's going to transition now into the mid, so some way away, but going to come and try and hunt down this Stug. If I crack the tack, you can see actually a pretty radical Soviet retreat here. The Stug, combined with the shocking force of Panzer Grenadiers, G43 equipped Jaeger command squads, and Flammenwerfer equipped engineers, with a well-supported machine gun and GR34 in support here, has actually pretty much cleared Soviet units from the field. Just some engineers active in the west of the map, which you can see on the minimap there, and that's kind of worrying, to be honest. So Devman here, under the gun, luckily not losing out on the scoreline, somehow able to maintain control over East and West VP right now, so that's super significant. If this game goes late, and it's looking like it will, then not hemorrhaging tickets through this phase of the game is going to be useful. My mouse is still just not cured though. God. I suppose that was a problem that existed way before all the other issues with my PC. Company of Heroes 2 just doesn't like any mouse I've ever had. It just, like, if I use middle mouse to scroll, it will just throw the camera all over the place. Now, there were some mines here. They are Soviet mines, which explains why these conscripts are not exploding. So yeah, that's worth knowing. That Stug is going to have to look out for those as this game goes on. No metal detector in the roster here for the Wehrmacht player, so those mines not likely to be cleared anytime soon. That mortar just scoring hit after hit. 3 kills, nearly a level of veterancy. It did so much damage with that last hit that these conscripts are just going to get mowed down. If this is a squad wipe, it's because of that mortar. Alright, it's not a squad wipe, but that was still pretty close. Okay, the Stug gets taken out by some plucky conscripts. It's out of control and moving incredibly slowly. There we go. It does get taken out. So yeah, some plucky conscripts in tandem with the Zis gun, which was firing from this position, able to get enough damage and a finishing anti-tank grenade, I believe, onto that Stug. And that's a really nice kill to be able to cobble together. That was pretty much a very unlucky and cursed Stug. It spent pretty much its entire life with its engine broken. There go those mines, killing only 1 grenadier on the fallback. Not great, but there we go. Hey, we got a B4 howitzer on the construct. But as I was saying, yeah, that Stug pretty much cursed from the outset. Having its engine broken, never really shrugging that damage. It just always seemed to have an engine broken, and dying before gaining or significantly able to use its first star of veterancy. Just not great. Mines here also going to find these engineers. So the Axis player right now, the tables have turned. Having corralled the Soviet player and forcing all of their units back, it is now the Axis player who's forced to take a moment here to lick their wounds, get their army back in order, and think about what to spend their fuel on next. And it's going to be a Panzer IV. So, okay. That makes a lot of sense. The Panzer IV is a fantastic unit. My concern is, where's the positioning on this B4 howitzer? Let's investigate this again. Okay, so the line of sight from here is honestly not that great into mid. It's not great. So so it won't really be able to check a Panzer IV from moving in this area. I mean, this is just in the way. Actually, it really depends how this unit works at the target location. No, it's this one, direct fire. Shorter range requires a clear line of fire. Yeah, so it does require a clear line of fire. Okay, yeah, so unlikely to be able to police a Panzer IV from there, but, you know, should the Panzer IV stray into, like, this location here, for example, or maybe even here, you might be able to get a direct fire shot. Putting it down here, well, we're going to have to see how this positioning works out. I'm not sure if I like it or if I would have preferred it more centrally. But anyway, we're going to see a shot taken here momentarily, I would imagine. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that unit for now. Okay, here comes the shot. Some squads being wiped here for the Soviet player, but I want to watch this B4 shot come out. Was that it? Oh, no, they're winching the barrel up now. Here we go. No, he's going to cancel the shot. Was that a cancelled shot? I feel like I missed the shot. I feel like it landed here. My bad. Anyway, Panzer IV is out on the front now. MG42 Pintle Mount, I imagine, will be coming when there are sufficient munitions and when the Panzer IV is in territory. Going to force back a Maxim for now. Yeah, I definitely missed the shot. It landed here. My bad. But despite having the B4, this is a Soviet army that's under significant stress right now. This is a well-rounded, capable Axis force with good core infantry supported by nice weapon teams and a decent Panzer IV, which is pretty much the kingmaker on the field. The T-70, not really able to stand up to that. The Zis gun, though, in tandem with some anti-tank grenades, could be a problem for that Panzer IV, so CPU Easy is going to have to be cautious. But I think CPU Easy right now has the upper hand, but I mean, Only very slightly. Oh my god, what is the reload time on a B4 howitzer, by the way? It is ready again, yikes, because I mean, this is a very tempting concentration of units here. He's going to track it over there as well. Here we go. A near miss there. What has wounded this Panzer IV so badly? Is it the Zisgun? I don't know. Well, Panzer IV's down on relatively low health though, so that's a little bit concerning. Man, that B4 is so terrifying because it fires like every 60 seconds or so, if I recall. Sorry, I forgot to check the time. Yeah, looks like it fires essentially every like 65 or 70 seconds. That is quite rapid for such a punishing indirect fire option. Whoa! This Panzer IV is getting shredded here. Under the arc of a Zisgun right now. Has to fall back. Gonna have to scurry away. No combat blitz available yet. Still not Vet 1. That T-70 actually putting up a surprisingly good fight with the support of the Zisgun against a very damaged Panzer IV there. And that is nice. Gonna pick up the mortar crew here. It seems likely. Anyway, Panzer IV feels compelled to come back in to defend that mortar crew. There was a shot from a Zisgun there against that Panzer IV that was so risky. Yeah, there goes the mortar squad, so they will fall. And CPU Easy kind of being picked apart here, forced back towards the base. And Faymanville Approach is one of those maps that if you ever lose control of like this area, or like even just sort of this area ever, it's so hard to get back on the map because it's really not far from your opponent's base to hold this area. And it just becomes very difficult. And they are in danger right now, CPU Easy, of having that happen. It's going to be a KV-1. Sick. Alright, I'm loving it. Right, we're finally going to get to see the Soviet Heavy, the antiquated Soviet Heavy. And, oh my god, these Jaeger command squads just cutting through these conscripts. Yikes, that's pretty good damage. Kind of overextending perhaps into the Panzer here, into the T-70 even. B4 howitzer. It's taken another shot in the meantime, which I think I missed. Oh no, he's going to use lose the Jaeger command squad. This is what I was on about. That was kind of overextending there. Uh-oh. Oh, he's going to go down. Brutal. And now CPU's predicament is fairly dire. With this KV-1 coming out onto the field, is that going to be too much for CPU Easy to get out from under? There's still no pack gun. There's still no option for a pack gun. So this is looking really bad. T-70 here, kind of caught out a little bit. Panzer IV comes in, but the veterancy isn't quite there, so the accuracy isn't too tight. And the T-70 is going to kite back towards the V4, which will not actually be ready to take a direct fire shot. Oh, he tries for a shot onto the Panzer IV. That was risk. And now he gets the T-70. Okay, all right, something of a pickup there. The Zisgun here is actually a little flustered. Gets one hit onto the Panzer, but it's not enough. Veterancy 1 comes up in just the nick of time for him to use Blitzkrieg to bravely run away. I'm pretty sure that's not how combat blitz is actually supposed to work. That's Zisgun. Use Blitzkrieg to bravely run away. Nope, that's not how it works. Alright, now the KV-1 is going to make its presence felt, so let's have a look and just see how good this unit is nowadays. Recon Overflight is going to come in, so possibly trying to find some targets for the B4, which will be reloaded here just in a second. Here we go, B4 is ready. And there's going to be a Stug here as the choice, and a pack gun, so like the Mechanized Company has been established. I think that's a really smart plan. I think you need both of these units. So CPU Easy here, making some good decisions. And the scoreline now tied, so this latest phase of Russian ascendancy and domination... Oh, there goes the B4. Didn't actually see where it fired at. But this latest phase of Russian ascendancy has forced these units out. But I think this is the correct response for CPU Easy, who, as long as they don't lose any more core infantry or anything else, should be okay once these units get out. Shock troops now on the field, bolstering Devman's forces, really showing off the power of this commander. All we need is a use of for Mother Russia to really show off all the abilities here. Does that still leave your units exhausted for a while? No, it doesn't. Cool. Alright, so the KV-1 forced to yield to the Stug. The gun on that Stug just pretty good against targets like the KV-1. Doesn't want to feed any veterancy, and that KV-1 without much support there is going to have to yield the position. Panzer Grenadiers get up on top of this Maxim, so that's nice. Shock Troop's going to be too late to respond, I believe. Although these guys are low, and they're going to have to fall back, yeah. Oh no, not again. Stug here getting boffed by an anti-tank grenade. Donked, that's the word I use. By an anti-tank grenade. So that's unfortunate. Panzer IV is substantially, well, it's not even that repaired. He does have 2 squads of Pioneers. This is looking so rough. That B4 howitzer just hurling shells in. You just heard another blast. That's the sound of PPSHs. Alright, yeah, they're not going to beat a Panzer IV. Oh! Catching a tank shell between the shoulder blades is always going to sting. But Devman has his teeth firmly into this game, and it's going to be difficult for CPU Easy to get out from under this. And this is not a commander, I feel, that particularly offers any tools to get out from under this. So what's the plan? Do we try and tech for Battle Phase 3? I don't think so. I think you probably lose the game before you get any benefit out of that. But having said that, equally, I'm not sure you can win this game just with another Panzer IV or something like that, so I don't know. Is this a situation where a Brummbär might be good? Or a Panzerwerfer? I mean, a Panzerwerfer would be really nice because it can reach out and touch the B4. Another B4 shell just landing here. 2 stars on the Panzer IV now. That's pretty relevant, of course, because that's when it gets the armoured skirts. That significantly increases its survivability. German forces are advancing somewhat unimpeded for the time being, at least in the west, and going to grab a much-needed fuel point. Pack 4 here getting caught out by the incendiary rounds of a Russian MG42. Ouch. KV-1 here just hounding the Panzer back, and that'll need repairs. Stug has been repaired though. That's going to come in here and try and get some shots onto this. Oh my goodness, onto this KV-1. I do apologise for my mouse issues. So must remember to keep using keyboard scroll. Okay, so the fuel point is grabbed. That's a nice pickup there for a CPU Easy. But this is such a difficult nut to break. This Soviet army is so intimidating. Look at the top left, then look at the top right. The Soviet army has good veterancy. It's well equipped. It's well rounded. It is well composed. The Axis army, it is well composed and it is well rounded. It's just a little small. And you'll often feel that way as the Axis player against Soviets, but especially in this game, where an MG42 has been donated. Oh yeah, 2 MG42s been donated now. Oh god, I didn't realise both of the MG42s were now inactive. Oh no, there's actually no machine guns in the Axis roster, and it feels terrible to have to buy MG42s at this stage in the game when you've already given 2 of them to your opponent. But I mean, your opponent is steamrolling you with conscripts, shock troops, and a load of MGs, and MGs are really good against that. Oh my god, does he have the GR34? Oh wow, we're looking at the Lend-Lease program if the Axis forces were doing the lending and the leasing. Damn. Das Lenstein-Leisten. It's, this is a Soviet army that is using a significant amount of Axis hardware. If he could just find a way to give him a Panzer IV or a Stug or something, it would just be complete. But, we'll see. 1-star veterancy is ready now, which so that's the direct fire. Then we get increased shell and increased accuracy and rate of fire at Vet 2. So Vet 2, the most significant star of veterancy, it seems for me. What does Vet 3 do? Increases range. Yikes! Wow, those are all good veterancy abilities. Direct fire probably the least significant though, because it's not often that you get a good chance to use it, and it does cost 90 munitions. I can hear PPSHs. Oh, here they are. Alright, going to find a Panzer IV being repaired here, but that will be too much for these shock troops to deal with. They're going to try for a grenade on these very clustered up Pioneers, and that will force back the Pioneers for a moment here, but not significant there. Kind of feeding a few shock troops in there. KV-1 here going to corner the Stug, so that's going to have to force the Stug to sneak away and try and get back into the side of the base. This KV-1 has been decent. Everywhere it goes, it seems like there's just it's got so much health and good enough armor that it's never really been threatened. Oh my goodness me, it's chasing this Stug hard. Okay, the Stug will sneak away for now, but that was very nearly a dead Stug. Let's just quickly take a look at how much this KV-1 costs. Wow, okay, they're significantly expensive. 145. Wow. And 420 manpower, okay. So, should be good. Let's just take a look at its abilities. You can hold down the KV-1? What? Say what? That's epic. Increase the rate of fire and limits... That's epic. I love hold down as a mechanic. I think it's really fun. In the early days of the game, I would often find myself using the Wehrmacht commander, who lets you hold down your panzers. God, I can't remember his name though. He's the guy with the glasses. Anyway. Okay, so there we go. The JR-3014 gets wiped. But yeah, I would often use that commander and find hulling down units really useful. And I think that the way that they've revitalized the 250 half-track, the light half-track, which some German commanders have access to, by giving it a sort of hold-down type mechanic, is really nice. I think it's a fun mechanic to use because it's useful, it's risk and reward, it allows a bit of interplay between the two players. It just makes for good gameplay, and I like it. So to see it on a heavy tank, that's actually really exciting. I did not know that the KV-1 had hull down. Actually, because this is like the first time I've seen a KV-1 being used since the balance patch, since the balancing was moved to the community modding team. So there we go. B4 howitzer here, getting what seemed like a great hit on this pack gun, but really not doing that much damage still. It looks like he's going to lose the pack gun though. This is just way too many Soviet stuff. Oh no, that's terrible. Oh no, you just can't afford to be giving your opponent pack guns. But 2nd Panzer IV is out on the field now, so 2 Panzer IVs and a Stug. That represents quite a decent armoured component to this Wehrmacht army. The scoreline, 216 and going quickly now for CPU Easy, under 366 for Devman. So the tables have turned as far as the scoreline goes. I mean, this is going to be really rough. How, with your depleted infantry lineup, are you supposed to get up onto and hold 2 of these VPs as CPU Easy? It's going to be really difficult. Uh-oh, Grenadier in jeopardy, 3-star Grenadier squad, oh no! Okay, he gets away. Losing core infantry at this time in the game would be utterly, utterly devastating. I think that Grenadier is actually legit going to sneak away. Yeah, he's fine. That was close. I feel like CPU Easy just kind of drowning now, has had his head underwater for a little too long, and the struggles are getting weaker. It's becoming more desperate. He has 2 Panzer IVs, but if he's going to break out from this lock, he's got to do it soon. Because this is... Oh, okay. Oh, for a second there I thought he'd got this Maxim. He may get the Maxim. Not sure if Devman is paying attention here. KV-1's transitioning across, and it's going to catch the Stug. That's a little unlucky. If this KV-1 was like 2 seconds ahead, then it would have just driven out and exposed its side armor to the Stug rather than the other way around. So a bit unlucky there for CPU Easy. That sounds like a B4 howitzer shell coming in. Ugh, trying to find the Stug. Doesn't. A lot of Axis forces here. I think he is actually going to get one of the VPs at last. But this represents pretty much the entire Axis force just to take this one area. Whereas the Soviet player is maintaining a nice line here. He just lost a Panzer IV. I think it was mines. He just lost a Panzer IV whilst I was on the minimap. I do apologize, or on the tactical map. I do apologise for that. But yeah, he's going to lose a Panzer IV, and yeah, you can't afford to be losing pretty much anything. The Axis player is pretty much out of resources. Yeah, CPU Easy knows it. He was just choked out of this game over time by Devman just making smart choices and not taking risks, and it's the classic RTS philosophy of when you're ahead, get more ahead. At no point did Devman make a lunge to win the game or make any sort of maneuver or do anything that appeared to me predicated on the basis of just trying to end the game with a victory for him. He just kept on making life harder for his opponent. Like, don't try and win, just get further ahead. And when you're ahead, just get further ahead, you know? When you're ahead, get more ahead. And that is what Devman was able to do here. CPU Easy, getting off to a nice start, and I liked most of the unit composition choices, and everything seemed pretty fine for like the opening stages of the game. Double MG42 opener was safe. Skipping like the mechanized company, going for support armor core, I actually liked, because it meant that when the T-70 was out, there was only like a minute or two where that T-70 was able to cruise around the field relatively unimpeded before he had a Stug come out. And then things started going a little bit awry once that first Stug came out. That Stug didn't really have a very good run of things, died early, didn't really achieve very much, and that's a shame. There's definitely a timeline where that Stug is still alive right now, and it's 3-star vet, and it's like dominating midfield. But he did lose the Stug. And then he decided, well, then he proceeded to lose a lot of Vermac weapon teams. And, you know, that's really easy to do. Of all the units in the game to lose, Vermac weapon teams are among the easiest because they're 4 men and they have the received weapon accuracy. So they take increased damage basically from almost everything. And with some of them, like the pack gun and the mortar, you only need to kill 3 of them before the unit is lost. So yeah, and then to add insult to injury, not only were 2 MG42s, a GR34, and a pack gun lost, but they were actually I think the pack gun may have been destroyed, but certainly the GR34 and the MG42s found their way into the Soviet army. And when you've not only lost 4 units, but you've or 3 or 4 units, but you've given them to your opponent, that's so hard to come back from. That is just very, very close to insurmountable losses. Then we had the further compounding problem. I mean, this is what I mean when your head get more ahead, and that's what Devman did. The B4 is a prime example of that. This is not a risky maneuver. Building a B4, I mean, it's not risk-free. This does represent an investment of resources into a relatively fragile point, which if your opponent is able to access in any significant way, you know, they can punish you for. But usually building a B4 is quite easy to defend and able to put your opponent under significant pressure. So again, a single B4 is never going to win you the game, but it just makes your opponent's life so much harder. It just puts you further ahead. And the same with the KV1. Like that, it's unlikely that we're going to see a KV1 destroy your opponent's base or like wipe all their units or take a fight against all your opponent's armor or whatever. But it just makes all of the fights so hard because it sits there with high armor, with a decent HP pool, soaking damage and being effective, if only effective, not super effective, just good against your infantry and contributing in the armor battle. And another KV1 was about to come out, and I think it's safe to say, you know, on the basis of just one KV1, which I appreciate is not a very large sample. I like it. It looks great. We didn't get to see the hold down ability, but that sounds fun. That sounds really good. It has, what is this? Oh yeah, of course, prioritized vehicles. It just seems like a fine unit. 145 puts it ahead of above most medium tanks or all of the medium tanks in terms of cost. I'm a bit worried that at that price point it is sort of competing with an SU-85, which, as you all know, is the best unit in the game according to Magpie. So there is that sort of, you know, that sort of dynamic to it. It is quite expensive, but yeah, it does seem good. I am impressed. I am minded to give this commander another run. Back in the day, I used to run this commander quite a lot. I used to find him quite fun. Shock troops were good. We saw the recon overflight be used, and you know that's one of those ones that's quite hard to assess usually, unless it just like spots some tech or it spots a unit or something like that. It's quite hard to assess exactly how useful it was, but certainly it was informing Devman's decisions and making sure he was one step ahead of CPU Easy. And you know, this Jaeger commander, I think this is a great commander, but I don't necessarily think this is a very strong map for it. It's such a close range map. The fighting is always so close and brutal. I think you'd almost always rather have some more durable or sort of, I don't know, just sort of battlefield impactful options. Like Jaeger infantry are fine, and putting G43s on your grenadiers are fine. And those are good in battles which I guess are on a slightly larger battlefield where you're gaining more value over time in smaller engagements where the effectiveness of the G43s and your advanced infantry can become more pronounced by beating your opponent's infantry in fights that take slightly longer. But in a fight like this, where every single fight you're being shot at by Maxims, MG42s, and like shelled down by mortars, B4s, and shot at by tanks, it's really hard for these units to shine. And on a small map like this, pretty much a lot of the time, most of your opponent's units will be being brought to bear against most of your units in a given fight. Definitely the most significant and bigger fights anyway, because it's quite a small map. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think I like the pick of Jaeger Infantry Doctrine. I think Fortification Doctrine may have been okay. It's difficult to take that against a B4 though. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, Spearhead Doctrine. Yeah, Spearhead Doctrine probably would have been the best here, I reckon. the mortar half-tracks would have been useful. Panzer Tactician may or may not have been able to save some of the medium armor that we saw CPU Easy lose, and having a Tiger plan, especially on a small map like this, very nice, especially when your opponent is committed to this strategy, the counterattack tactics, which I think it's fair to say does have some weakness against the Tiger tank. The Tiger does beat KV-1s, it beats all of these things really, unless you're foolish enough to let a B4 howitzer get some actual hits on your Tiger. And, you know, because of this being a small map, I mean, we've seen Tiger tanks dominate on this map many times on the channel and elsewhere, so I reckon Spearhead Commander might have been a choice, a better choice, but it's very easy for me to say. I'm the omnipresent, omnipotent caster up here, able to sort of see everything and have perfect information, and who knows, CPU Easy might have had some kind of a plan for this commander that we didn't see materialize because the game turned against him. So I think that will conclude the post-game analysis on this one. We seem to have made it through another cast without my PC dying, so I'm hoping now with today's round of surgery that she is going to be solid as a rock again. You know, I can hardly complain. She has been such a faithful and sturdy beast. She is 5.5 years old now, but still pretty damn powerful, and still some fantastic components under the hood. And it is within my expectations for a graphics card that has seen literally thousands of hours of use to fail after like 5.5 years. Graphics cards, they run a lot of, they're a high intensity unit basically. There's a lot of heat, a lot of energy going through them, and goodness knows I've gotten great use out of that card. So, anyway, hopefully the PC will live, and I guess, yeah, that does conclude this video. Thank you once again for tuning in, and this for now, Magpie842 signing out.